Let me ask you something straight up. How many times have you told yourself you want more, you deserve more, you're capable of more, and yet your life keeps giving you the same results? Not because you lack talent, not because you lack intelligence, but because there's a force behind every extraordinary life that most people avoid, misunderstand, or run from. That force is discipline. See, people love the idea of success. They love the applause, the freedom, the confidence, the money, the respect. But what they don't love, what they don't talk about, is the quiet, relentless discipline that happens when nobody's watching. The discipline to show up when you don't feel like it. The discipline to keep promises you made to yourself when excuses start sounding reasonable. That's the real separator. Every successful person you admire didn't wake up magically motivated every day. They didn't wait for inspiration to strike. They trained themselves. They conditioned their mind and body to act even when comfort was screaming for control. Discipline isn't punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. Think about it. Your life right now is a reflection of what you consistently tolerate and what you consistently practice. If you practice hesitation, your life rewards you with regret. If you practice comfort, your life rewards you with stagnation. But when you practice discipline, your life rewards you with progress, power, and pride. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you know you're meant to become. It's what allows ordinary people to produce extraordinary results. It's what turns potential into performance. And here's the truth most people miss. Discipline doesn't limit your freedom. It creates it. When you discipline your habits, you free your future. When you discipline your focus, you reclaim your energy. When you discipline your standards, you change your identity. Because success isn't about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do every single day, especially on the days you don't feel strong. Your emotions are powerful, but they're unreliable. If you let your feelings decide your actions, your life will always be at the mercy of moods, fear, and distraction. Discipline is choosing your values over your feelings. It's deciding in advance who you are and how you will act no matter the circumstances. I've met the most successful leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and creators in the world. And let me tell you something they all have in common. It's not luck, it's not confidence, it's not even talent. It's a deep, unshakable commitment to doing what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is not a stop sign. Discomfort is a signal that growth is happening. Your mind will beg you to quit. Your body will try to negotiate. But discipline says, I don't negotiate with my future. Discipline says, I do this because this is who I am. And once you build discipline, something incredible happens. You start trusting yourself. You stop doubting your word. You stop breaking promises to yourself. And that self-trust becomes confidence, real confidence, not the kind you fake, but the kind you feel in your bones. Discipline doesn't start with massive actions. It starts with small, controlled decisions. One more rep, one more page, one more uncomfortable conversation, one more day where you choose growth over ease. Those small decisions compound, and before you know it, you're living a life most people only dream about. But here's the part you must understand. Discipline is not something you wait for. It's something you build, and you build it by deciding today that your standards are no longer negotiable, that your future is worth more than your excuses, that the pain of discipline is far less costly than the pain of regret. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You don't need permission. What you need is a decision that the life you want requires a higher version of you, and you're willing to become that person. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about how big your dreams are, it's about how disciplined your actions are. And when you master discipline, you don't just change what you do, you change who you are. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you did what you said you'd do every day? What would be possible if you trained yourself to act no matter how you felt? That version of you isn't far away. It's built one disciplined choice at a time. Discipline is the daily commitment to act on your goals regardless of mood, motivation, or circumstances. And that's where most people get it wrong, because they think discipline means forcing yourself, punishing yourself, pushing through pain with clenched teeth, when in reality, discipline is a decision you make long before the moment gets difficult. It's deciding who you are going to be when your emotions try to take control, because emotions change, energy fluctuates, and circumstances are never perfect. But the person you decide to become can stay constant if you train yourself to live by standards instead of feelings. Every single day, your life asks you a question, and that question is simply, are you going to do what's easy, or are you going to do what matters? And most people don't fail because they choose the wrong goal. They fail because they let their mood choose their behavior. When you only act when you feel motivated, you give your power away to temporary states. Discipline is reclaiming that power and saying, I act because this is who I am, not because I feel like it right now. Think about it. Well, the days that shape your future are not the days when everything is going well. They're the days when you're tired, distracted, overwhelmed, or discouraged, and you still show up. Those are the days when identity is forged. Anyone can take action when they're inspired, but discipline is what allows you to take action when inspiration is nowhere to be found. And that's why discipline compounds. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you reinforce the belief that you can trust yourself. Most people underestimate how powerful self-trust really is. When you trust yourself, you don't hesitate as much. You don't second guess every decision. You don't wait for reassurance from the outside world. Discipline builds that trust quietly through repetition. You say you're going to wake up earlier, and you do it. You say you're going to train, study, practice, or improve, and you follow through. Over time, your nervous system learns that your word means something, and that confidence becomes unshakable. Discipline is also the ability to delay pleasure in service of a greater future. Your brain is wired to seek comfort and avoid discomfort, but success requires you to reverse that pattern. Discipline teaches you to become comfortable being uncomfortable, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you understand that temporary discomfort is the price of long-term fulfillment. The pain of discipline lasts minutes or hours, but the pain of regret lasts years. And here's the truth. Discipline doesn't require intensity. It requires consistency. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to win small battles daily. One disciplined choice today makes the next disciplined choice easier tomorrow. Momentum is created through repetition, not perfection. The goal isn't to be flawless, it's to be relentless in returning to your standards. When circumstances change, discipline is what keeps you anchored. When life throws uncertainty at you, discipline becomes your structure. It's what gives you control in a world that feels unpredictable. You might not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond, and discipline is training that response in advance. A disciplined person doesn't ask, what do I feel like doing today? They ask, what does my future require of me today? That question shifts everything. It moves you from short-term thinking to long-term identity. It forces you to see yourself not just as who you are right now, but as who you are becoming. And the more disciplined you become, the less effort discipline requires. At first, it feels heavy because you're breaking old patterns. But over time, discipline becomes automatic. It becomes your baseline. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes expected. This is how ordinary people create extraordinary lives, not through massive bursts of effort, but through steady, disciplined action over time. Discipline also protects your energy. When you eliminate unnecessary decisions, distractions, and excuses, you free up mental space. You stop wasting energy negotiating with yourself. You already decided, you already committed. And that clarity creates focus. Focus creates progress. Progress creates momentum. If you want to change your results, you must first change your rituals. Your rituals shape your identity, and your identity shapes your destiny. Discipline is choosing those rituals intentionally instead of letting habits form by default. It's deciding what you do when no one is watching, because that's who you become when everyone is watching. Most people wait for confidence to act, but confidence comes from action. Discipline is acting before confidence shows up. It's trusting the process even when results are invisible. And that's where faith meets action, because discipline is believing that the work you're doing today will matter even if you can't see the payoff yet. You don't need more discipline in every area of your life. You need discipline in the areas that matter most, the areas that move the needle, the areas that align with your highest values. When discipline is connected to meaning, it becomes sustainable. When you know why you're doing something, you stop quitting when it gets hard. Discipline is not about becoming rigid. It's about becoming reliable. Reliable to your goals, reliable to your standards, reliable to the vision you have for your life. And when you become that kind of person, your life begins to reflect it in ways you never thought possible. True success is built by consistent, unseen actions that strengthen self-trust and elevate personal standards. And this is the part of success most people never see, never celebrate, and never talk about. They see the results. They see the confidence, the authority, the certainty, but they don't see the quiet moments where a person chose discipline over distraction, standards over shortcuts, and long-term growth over short-term relief. Every powerful life is shaped in private before it's ever rewarded in public. The unseen actions are the foundation, because what you do when no one is watching is what defines who you become. When you consistently do the right thing without applause, without recognition, without immediate reward, you are training your identity. You are telling yourself, I am the kind of person who follows through. And that belief becomes your greatest asset. Most people are obsessed with outcomes, but successful people are obsessed with standards. Outcomes fluctuate. Standards don't. When your standards are high, your behavior rises to meet them. When your standards are low, excuses feel justified. And the danger is not failure. The danger is lowering your standards just enough to stay comfortable while slowly drifting away from your potential. Self-trust is not built through big promises. It's built through small, consistent actions. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's inconvenient, you deposit trust into your own internal bank. Every time you don't, you withdraw from it. Over time, that balance determines how much confidence you have in yourself. Not confidence you talk about, but confidence you feel when it's time to act. Unseen actions matter because they eliminate the gap between who you say you are and how you actually live. That gap is where frustration lies. That gap is where self-doubt grows. But when your actions align with your words consistently, something powerful happens inside you. You stop arguing with yourself. You stop hesitating. You stop needing external validation. You become grounded. Raising your standards means deciding that certain behaviors are no longer acceptable. It means no longer tolerating inconsistency, procrastination, or self-betrayal. It means saying, this is who I am now, and acting accordingly, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is the price of self-respect. Most people want to feel confident before they act. But confidence is the result of action, not the cause. When you show up consistently, confidence catches up. When you honor your commitments repeatedly, belief becomes inevitable. This is why consistency beats intensity every time. Intensity burns out. Consistency builds character. The unseen actions are often boring. They're repetitive. They don't feel heroic. And that's why most people avoid them. But boredom mastered becomes excellence. Repetition refined becomes mastery. Success is not dramatic most days. It's disciplined, quiet, and intentional. When you elevate your personal standards, you change the questions you ask yourself. You stop asking, can I get away with this? And start asking, does this align with who I am becoming? That shift changes everything. It moves you from reaction to intention, from drifting to directing. Unseen actions also protect you from emotional decision making. When your standards are clear, You don't need to negotiate with your feelings. You already decided what you do when things get hard. You already know how you show up when motivation disappears. That certainty creates stability, and stability creates momentum. Momentum doesn't come from huge wins. It comes from consistency stacking on top of itself. One disciplined choice leads to another. One aligned action strengthens the next. Over time, your habits become your identity, and your identity determines your destiny. Successful people don't wait to be seen to perform. They perform because that's who they are. They train when no one is clapping. They prepare when no one is watching. They improve when no one is counting. And when the moment comes, they look extraordinary because they've been ordinary with excellence for a long time. Raising your standards doesn't mean becoming harsh with yourself. It means becoming honest. Honest about what you want. Honest about what it requires. Honest about the gap between intention and action. And once you see that gap clearly, you either lower the goal or raise the standard. And the quality of your life depends on which choice you make. Self-trust grows when your behavior is predictable to yourself. When you know how you're going to respond under pressure. When you know you won't abandon yourself when things get uncomfortable. That kind of trust creates calm. It creates certainty. It creates strength. Unseen actions also create resilience. When you've done the work consistently, setbacks don't shake you as much. You don't panic. You don't collapse. You adjust and continue because your confidence isn't tied to outcomes. It's tied to effort and integrity. Every day gives you an opportunity to reinforce your standards or erode them. No one moment defines you, but patterns do. Patterns shape character. Character shapes results, and results shape your future. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. And the standards you live by are revealed not in what you say, but in what you repeatedly do when no one is watching. True success is quiet before it's loud. It's built in routines, habits, and choices that seem insignificant in the moment, but become unstoppable over time. And when you live that way consistently, success stops feeling like something you chase and starts feeling like something you embody.